Local, late breaking. This is Channel 2 Action News at noon. Coverage you can count on.
Developing this noon, a guest shot and killed in the hallway of a Metro hotel. The strange events fellow guests described in the hours leading up to the shooting. Good afternoon, I'm Sophia Choi. DeKalb County Police have one person in custody connected to the shooting at a DeKalb County hotel. Channel 2 Steve Gelbach has been live at the scene in Lithonia since we first went on the air at 6 this morning. And Steve, you talked with investigators in the last half hour.
Check back with DeKalb detectives, Sophia, and they are still interviewing everyone, going over evidence, and not ready to release yet what took place up there in the top floor hallway or any information about the man they arrested. A man was shot and killed in the 5th floor hallway of the Hyatt Place next to Stonecrest Mall in DeKalb County. A source connected to someone inside the hotel says there were 2 shots and the victim is possibly a homeless man given a room to stay in overnight.
I'm not sure about his home status. I do believe that he was a guest here at the hotel.
DeKalb police arrested a man in connection with the shooting and have recovered a gun.
Kind of scary, I tell you.
A guest 1 floor down wasn't sure he heard the shots.
But I heard something, a loud noise, and that woke me up.
Officers were called to the hotel around 3 Sunday morning. A source says the victim may have tried to rob another guest, and that's what led to the shooting.
We don't have enough information to talk about motive at this point in time, so we're not real sure exactly what happened, but we're in the interview process.
Detectives are talking to the suspect in custody, witnesses, and others possibly involved. A guest says he saw what he thinks was the victim walking Saturday nearby on I-20, then saw him later acting very strangely around his family at the hotel pool.
My daughter and her kids in the swimming pool, and my son upstairs said a man out there, homeless man out there jumping in the swimming pool with all his clothes on.
In the pool?
In the pool.
Police have not confirmed if there were any other calls to the hotel about the man Saturday or if he is in fact the one shot and killed. We don't know the name yet of the man they arrested as well, and detectives did tell me they expect to release more information on this case later this afternoon. Live in DeKalb County, Steve Gelbach, Channel 2 Action News.
Steve, thank you. New developments now. We are learning new details about a double shooting after a fight outside a nightclub in Midtown Atlanta. Police say one man was shot in the leg and shoulder when someone fired shots outside the Quad Club. We first showed you the scene on Spring Street on Channel 2 Action News Sunday a.m. The victim's friends say they drove him here to the parking lot of the Varsity a few blocks away when they spotted an ambulance. Police say a second man was shot in the chest. The Atlanta streetcar is expected to resume service tomorrow after electrical issues shut it down this weekend. But for some tourists in the city, that's a little too late.
I think it's terrible because I brought these people all the way from New Jersey just to enjoy the mayor's train.
Crews have worked throughout the weekend to repair an electrical issue with the overhead power lines. The work has caused temporary lane closures along the streetcar routes. A newly released internal review of student grade changing in Atlanta public schools found the district practices were not consistent. The district released the review on Friday of instances where students' grades were changed from failing to passing. The review also found that all school staff had access to online grade books and could change grades on transcripts. Channel 2 Action News spent months investigating this issue. The district leaders promised to make changes that would prevent future problems. Tomorrow, the family of Bobby Christina Brown will bury her at a cemetery in New Jersey. She'll be laid to rest at a cemetery in Westfield next to her mother, the late Whitney Houston.
Whitney will haunt Pat Houston from the grave.
We were at the funeral in North Fulton County Saturday as Bobby Christina's aunt, Leola Brown, walked outside to address the media after an outburst inside the church. Entertainment Tonight's Kevin Frazier told us that Brown stood up as Bobby Christina's aunt, Pat Houston, was speaking.
Leona stood up and said, "How dare you, how dare you?" And it was interesting because Tyler quickly made it across the front row. Frazier said Tyler Perry tried to calm the situation inside that church.
Well, this is the last weekend of summer vacation for thousands of students in Metro Atlanta. This map shows a dozen school districts where students will return to classes on Monday. They include Paulding, Cherokee, Cobb, and Henry counties. We will have live Team 2 coverage Monday on Channel 2 Action News this morning starting at 4:30 a.m. I'll be at a Cobb County school. Triple Team Traffic will also guide you around the crowded roads. And because of you, thousands of children across Metro Atlanta will have the tools for success as they head back to school. 6 buses pulled into our parking lot in Midtown Atlanta last night, filled with supplies donated at 6 Stuff the Bus locations across Metro Atlanta. Many of you stopped by the Kroger in Duluth to help thousands of local children in homeless shelters, group homes, and foster care. We talked to one woman who was in foster care as a child who came out to donate.
And I know what it's like not to have things of your own, and they need things of their own.
Volunteers with the Children's Restoration Network will sort through those items today. They will distribute the donations this weekend.
Dry with sunshine in the forecast today. Watching a front, still some moisture and humidity to our south coming up when our rain chances increase this week.
We are getting a look as Coast Guard crews rescued a mother and her daughter after their boat capsized off the coast of Georgia. Why crews were not initially able to reach them. Plus, an up-close look at the wet and moldy conditions inside a local apartment.
It breaks my heart, but it's for his own good.
The extreme steps one mother is taking to keep her child safe.
Closed caption.
A Clayton County mother says she has no choice but to keep her 2-year-old away from her home because of mold. Brianna Baker showed us the mold underneath her sink, and she says it's gotten worse over the past month. Another resident shared cell phone video showing the black mold on his walls. Baker says her son is staying with his grandmother until she can find a new place.
It breaks my heart, but it's for his own good because I love him, and I can't let him be, and that stuff is horrible.
We called property management, but no one returned our calls. Well, this noon, a Hero worker is in critical condition. The driver who police say hit him with a car as he helped at the scene of a crash remains in jail. Atlanta police say Moses King was putting down flares after an accident on the downtown connector near 10th Street early Saturday morning. They say 25-year-old Lindsey Clark hit him. Clark is now charged with DUI and reckless driving. Investigators are looking into the cause of an accident between a train and a tractor trailer. The crash happened in Douglas County Saturday night at Broad and Mosley Streets. The big rig was transporting other vehicles at the time. Authorities say the truck driver and passengers were not hurt. Hundreds of motorcyclists left Metro Atlanta to ride to Tennessee in honor of a fallen Marine. We were there as the riders left Marietta and rode to Chattanooga in honor of Lance Corporal Skip Wells. Wells was one of 5 service members killed in last month's attack on a reserve center. The money raised will help Wells' family start a scholarship in his name. New video as crews rescue a mother and her daughter stranded after their boat capsized off the coast of Georgia. The main reason Coast Guard rescuers say the pair survived unharmed.
And temperatures are climbing into the 90s today across North Georgia. Coming up, updating today's neighborhood highs, and we'll look ahead to rain chances this week.
But first, here's a look at last night's winning lottery numbers. The U.S. Coast Guard rescued a mother and daughter after their boat capsized off the coast of Georgia. This is video of the helicopter rescue. Officials say the women reported their 16-foot boat had become grounded off St. Simon's Island on Friday. Shallow water initially kept rescue workers from reaching them. Coast Guard crews say both were wearing life jackets, which likely kept them alive. Well, we are off to a sunny start here in Metro Atlanta. Meteorologist Brian Monahan is in Severe Weather Center 2 with what you can expect as we head into the work week.
Sophia, low humidity, lots of sunshine. That's how we're rounding out for a lot of students across North Georgia. It's your last Sunday, your last day of summer. Going to feel like it temperature-wise, but the humidity nice and comfortable. Look where it sits right now, 48%. The breeze out of the east at 3. Temperature right now at 86 degrees. We started this morning at 6 o'clock. We were tracing temperatures for you in the 50s in the mountains. You've recovered nicely in Blairsville at 81, 84 Calhoun, Rome at 87, just grazing 90 now in LaGrange. 88 degrees our start this afternoon now in Griffin. So lots of dry air in place. You look outside, basically a cloud-free sky across a lot of North Georgia. Early this afternoon, there is this wavy stationary front. It's stuck, it's stalled, it's not going anywhere. Other side of this front, that's the muggy, the humid stuff. We are in a very dry air mass for this time of year, and it's going to stick around over the next couple of days. So let's get right to it. Our updated forecast model showing that mugginess and stickiness to our south. We've got a mostly clear sky through 2 o'clock, through 3, through 4. Little upper level disturbance comes across the mountains. Could see a few clouds there. Otherwise, plenty of sunshine in your Sunday afternoon forecast. Let's go through it hour by hour for you. Temperatures now in the mid-80s by 2 o'clock. So a couple hours from now, just about 90 degrees. Just some patchy clouds around North Georgia. By 4 o'clock, 91, mostly sunny. And we'll finish off today at 6 o'clock at 92 degrees. That's our high temperature today. That's about 3 degrees above average. Average is 89. We matched that yesterday in Atlanta. Actually, one of our cool spots was the airport itself. Most other areas in the 90s. That's where we'll be again today. 93 in Rome, 92 Carrollton, mid-90s where we finish off in LaGrange and Eatonton today. Mid-90s in Athens, looking at low 90s in Gainesville. Speaking of Gainesville, just tweeted about this. Here's the updated lake forecast for today. Water temps 86 in Lake Lanier. Going for about a high of 90 degrees this afternoon there. Lake Allatoona, water really warm right now at 90, 91 the temperature right near the lake for the air temperature. 96 around West Point Lake this afternoon. Water in the middle 80s right now at 86 degrees. And our last stop takes us to Lake Hartwell. Water temp 86. 94 degrees air temperature today. So it's going to be a hot afternoon. Now let's fast forward. 9 o'clock Monday morning. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow morning. That front still stalled to our south and to our east. So it's going to be another hot afternoon tomorrow. Mostly sunny, but notice just not much in the way of cloud cover around. So hot, mainly dry weather tomorrow. A couple of changes coming in as we head toward Tuesday. A little bit more moisture around. We'll swing in a few more clouds. This front falls apart. Before it does, it gets a little closer to us. So we will see a bit more clouds, a bit more moisture Tuesday, but no rain just yet on Tuesday afternoon. First thing tomorrow morning, another comfortable start in many neighborhoods. Mid-50s Blairsville, mid-60s Monday morning in Calhoun and Rome, 66 Carrollton. We'll start at 71 tomorrow in Atlanta, and after today's high at 92, a couple degrees warmer tomorrow. We're up to 94 degrees on Monday. Mid-90s for Tuesday, partly cloudy sky, a few more clouds around. Still dry Wednesday for the most part. We'll bring our rain chances up to 20% by Thursday. Temps a little cooler too in the low 90s.
Brian, thanks. Georgia colleges are starting football training camps as the Braves face a rough time out on the road. Channel 2's sports director Zach Klein has your Sunday sports.
And a good Sunday to you. On yesterday's first day of the Yellow Jacket training camp, head coach Paul Johnson stressed to his team it's time to go to work. Well, last year's was impressive for the Jackets. It guarantees them absolutely nothing this year, and this year the Jackets will not take anyone by surprise. We were at practice yesterday, their first one of the training camp. And 17th ranked Yellow Jackets went through a 2-hour session. I asked the head coach afterwards how the true freshmen looked on their first day at camp.
I think there's some good athletes in the freshman group for sure, and it'll be our job here in the next 3 or 4 weeks to sort them out and see who's going to play this year and who can help us win and who probably needs a redshirt year.
Now, while Tech is beginning the 8th season under head coach Paul Johnson, Kennesaw State is beginning their first season ever. Yeah, under the watchful eye of head coach Brian Bohannon, the Owls kicked off their first ever training camp practice yesterday. Bohannon told us, yeah, it's cliche, very cliche, but with a first-year program, every snap counts.
I think the biggest thing for our football team right now is we got to learn to take one rep and maximize that rep and then move to the next one. Regardless if we're in pads or we're in shorts, you know, we're a young football team that we're trying to grow. Just win that rep and then let's move to the next one. Win that one, let's move to the next one. And kind of build from there.
In Philly last night, the Braves scored more runs in the first inning than they had totaled in 5 of their last 9 games, but they still lost by 10. Now, it's getting ugly for the Braves, who have now dropped 6 straight and 13 of their last 14 on the road. It did take them all of 2 pitches to take the lead against the Phillies as Nick Markakis goes deep for just the second time all season long. That's a leadoff homer for Markakis. Braves up 2-0 after 1. However, the Phillies would score the next 12 runs. They smack around 15 hits with 3 of them leaving the ballpark. Yeah, the Phillies hit 3 home runs, while the Braves had a total of 4 hits over their final 8 innings of the game. The Braves look to avoid the sweep later this afternoon. And finally, over at Russ Chandler Stadium yesterday on the campus of Georgia Tech, C.J. Stewart's Intercity Youth LEAD group was on the diamond. Now, LEAD stands for Launch, Expose, Advise, and Direct, and they held their first annual Safe at Home game. The LEAD ambassadors played 7 innings against members of the Atlanta Police Department. True ambassadors to our city and definitely fine young men. That is the latest from the sports desk. I'm Zach Klein. Have a great rest of the day.
New developments this noon as investigators work to determine whether a piece of debris is from a plane that disappeared more than a year and a half ago with hundreds of people on board. This noon, Malaysian officials have confirmed a second object found on an island is a domestic ladder and not a plane part. They say the piece of debris found on a beach this morning has nothing to do with the investigation involving missing Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. On Saturday, a motorcade escorting a wing fragment arrived at a state-of-the-art lab in France. The wing flap washed ashore on an island on Wednesday. A piece of Gwinnett County history could soon be turned into a new public art piece. Officials tore down the water towers that used to stand along I-85 in August 2010. They had the words, "Gwinnett is great and success lives here." The city of Sewanee has the section with the word lives. The city has applied for a $15,000 grant to turn it into a piece of art. Police have one person in custody after a guest was shot and killed inside a Metro hotel. A look at our top story is next. And now an update on our top story at noon. DeKalb County Police have one person in custody connected to a shooting at the Hyatt Place Hotel. In the last hour, we spoke to a detective who says they are still interviewing witnesses and going over evidence. A man was shot and killed in a hallway. Witnesses told us the victim was possibly a homeless man who had been given a room overnight. We have time for one last look at your forecast with Brian Monahan.
Temperatures in the mid to upper 80s now. We're going to finish off in the 90s, but the humidity is going to be much lower. You can feel that difference out there right now. 86 in Atlanta, 92 in LaGrange right now, 88 in Griffin. We are at 88 right now in Eatonton. For this afternoon, looking at highs in the low 90s, 92, mostly sunny sky. Back to school, of course, tomorrow. Meteorologist Karen Minton is going to have all those bus stop back to school forecasts for you starting at 4:30. Comfortable start, 60s, low 70s. We finish off in the mid 90s, mostly sunny. Same deal on Tuesday. Rain chances returning on Wednesday and especially by Thursday.
Sounds like a day for layers for the students.
Yes, going to start a little cool.
Thank you for counting on Channel 2 Action News at noon. And remember, our news team never stops. We're constantly updating stories on WSBTV.com.
And don't forget to download our free news and weather apps for your smartphones and tablets.
And we hope to see you right back here for Channel 2 Action News at 6. Until then, have a great Sunday afternoon.